Welcome to the GP Preview Show.
Round 12, Belgium, Spa.
Are you sick and tired of seeing the other half? Are you sick and tired of spending time with your kids? Are you sick and tired of doing work overtime? Well, fear no longer, because Formula 1 is actually back. Can you believe it, for the Belgian Grand Prix? It's felt like forever since the last Grand Prix. We actually forgot that we were doing a GP preview show this week. It's been that long. It's just felt like, them days of us waiting for Australia, just like, oh, Formula 1 is back. It's been so long. It's been like an eternity. But no, we can all chill out. It's been the break. Everyone's had their time out, had their, relaxation time, holidays. Everyone's back for the Belgian Grand Prix this weekend. Very, very excited indeed to kick off the second part of the season and the last 9 rounds of the season. It's all going down the wire. Vettel versus Hamilton with Bottas. Is he going to challenge for it? I really don't know, but it is either going to be either Hamilton or Bottas, Hamilton or Vettel for this title. Rather, it's going to be very, very exciting. Obviously, stay tuned with the F1 debate show to find out and obviously give our opinions about what the hell is going to happen in this 2017 season. So obviously, as always in a GP preview show, we're going to give our predictions first, go for Fry the Grid, and then give off some facts and just a bit discussed about relatable topics for that particular Grand Prix, which obviously is Belgium. So obviously, I'm going to kick off with my predictions to kick off the second half of the season, and I'm going to go with from third to first. Now I'm going to start with a very controversial driver. Well, not really a controversial driver, but a very controversial prediction, I would say. And I'm going with P3 as Sebastian Vettel. Now, you're probably thinking, oh wow, P3 for Sebastian Vettel. Now, I'm not going to go into too much detail why I put Sebastian Vettel in P3, but the driver put in P2. That's where I'm going to give up more or less my explanation why I put Sebastian Vettel in P3. Now, in P2, I put in Daniel Ricciardo in the Red Bull. Now, obviously, Red Bull nowhere near the pace, way off the pace. Let's say, they always wanted to be, with the Mercedes, with the Ferraris. That's where their expectations would have been. They had a very strong 2016 season. 2015 was a very, very poor season for them. So obviously they're on a rebuilding phase at the moment with, trying to restable their relationship with Renault. Obviously, rebranding the name, the Renault engine to Tag Heuer. That just explains everything, doesn't it? And I think they're going to kick off the second half of the season in strong passion because Red Bull know that they are losing ground on them too. They're not going to win the constructors. I know fine well they're not. Yes, you can argue and say mathematically they can and everything, but they're not. Let's be realistic about this. They're not going to win the constructors. So obviously their title is wrapped off. They can look towards next season, but I think they are going to try and push hard the next 9 rounds. Obviously give the best upgrades they can with Max and Daniel. And I do know that the upgrades that they might be bringing into Belgium is quite progressive. To say the least. Anyways, obviously we've seen how these upgrades have fared on one side of the garage than the other side, so who are we to say? So I think Daniel Ricciardo is going to get a good race should his car, he has had the more reliable car, so I think if there is anyone to finish on the podium for Red Bull, it is going to be Daniel Ricciardo. And for race winner, I've gone with Lewis Hamilton. Now Lewis Hamilton, he's going for a 4th World Championship. He's going the match pole position record. Yeah, he's got a good record in Belgium. So I don't see why he shouldn't win the race. He lost out in the last Grand Prix, so he will be determined. He's been away, took his mind off everything for 3 weeks. He's came back and he's ready to go. Right, knuckle down, get this World Championship, break some more records, and put my name well and truly in F1 in F1 legend books. And I think that is actually quite a strong prediction because I think more towards Red Bull, because I think Red Bull are going to have a stronger second half of the season, which is going to then swing the title pendulum back and forth if Red Bull get themselves in the mix with the likes of the Red Bulls, with the likes of the Ferraris and the Mercedes, because it's going to be okay. One of the Mercedes or one of the Ferraris isn't going to finish on the podium, so it is going to be quite interesting. So I think that's what's going to happen. Them 3, Sebastian Vettel in P3, Daniel Ricciardo in P2. Lewis Hamilton in P1. So Lyle, that's my predictions. What do you think is going to happen?
Well, I'm very excited to be back again. Obviously, as you first said, it was crazy. I mean, as John said, it was one of them things that we nearly forgot about. Anyway, yeah. So this race really exciting, great track to kick it off. It's more of the political race that we'll have left in the Formula 1, obviously over halfway, and yeah, it's the nitty gritty. It's very exciting about what is going to happen. Really challenging circuit in Belgium. So obviously the third place driver guy in the bronze position on the podium will be the kind of home guy of Max Verstappen. Obviously he is from the Netherlands, Dutch, but he was born in Belgium. Obviously that was brought up last year alongside another Belgian driver, obviously Stoffel, so it's good rivalry there. But obviously a big home favourite. So I'm going to say Max in that Red Bull is going. He's had a good few strong races since he had that blundery few. I think it was 6 races that he had, which obviously, as we discussed in our half-term report, and obviously in the first half of the season, that was where obviously he was doing 6 races where no points, DNFs. And then obviously 6 for Daniel Ricciardo, 6 podiums for Daniel Ricciardo, which obviously was really good, kicking off in Spain, which obviously was great from him. But he bounced back in obviously the last 2 races, obviously Britain and Hungary. And I think this is a time for Max to shine him. And yes, he's had a bit of a wobbly start to the first half of the season, but obviously he's a great driver, gets that great support. We all remember how great he did last year. Now, last year, and obviously we're going to talk about Max a bit later on in this episode, because obviously, as we all remember, Max Verstappen last year got himself in a bit of hot water because of what he did on track. Obviously he collided with a few drivers into La Source, or he might have. Obviously he was getting tangled up in this, that and the other. Obviously he was quite dangerous about what was going on around him, but obviously again, I'll say we'll discuss him later on. All that aside though, I did think he did a good race last year, so I'm going to put him into P3, obviously really, really strong from that. In P2, now, it really was a hard one because there was a few drivers that I wanted to put in there. Obviously, there's the normal guys of Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton, and then you think, who will, kind of second that position? Will it be Valtteri Bottas, or, who will get that position? But there's one guy, and he's kind of dubbed as the King of Spa. And he might have been absent for a few years in terms of the podiums and the points and doing quite well at Spa, even though he's always one of the guys who I think he stands out at Spa. And that obviously is Kimi Raikkonen, obviously multiple winner in the past, and I think he will get a very strong first place. It obviously leads on to first, then it's like, right, Sebastian or Lewis. I mean, that's the thing. It's like whoever doesn't take first, obviously doesn't win. Of course, that's only human logic. But it's like one of those drivers can't get on the podium. So who is it going to be? Is it going to be Lewis or is it going to be Seb? Who is going to do well? They've both done well around this circuit, but after what he did last year, come from dead last to third place, I obviously have to say Lewis Hamilton, like Jordan, and obviously it will be a great race from him. Is he going to take the World Championship lead? It's 14 points at the moment, remember, so obviously it all depends on where Vettel finishes the race, but you've got to see, getting 25 out of that 25 up 25 potential race points is going to be strong from him, and yes, I think it's going to be him. Loves this circuit, does really well against this circuit. There's no Nico Rosberg to collide with anymore, and yeah, I think it's going to be a good race from him. Setting himself up, obviously, fantastically for the remaining 8 races of the season, obviously when Belgium is out of the way with. I hope it's a good race from Vettel, but obviously not in that top 3 that I said. Kimi Raikkonen is the better of the 2 Ferraris, and I've got to say, I think he'll have a stellar race. King of Spa, and obviously we saw in Hungary an amazing race from him, and it really was. It was a Kimi is back, and it really, really was. There was no adversary. There was no. I don't think there was any problems with any other cars. It really just was that old Finnish driver that we all love, that 2007 world champion, gets in the car, drives, and he does what he wants. He does what he wants, and he does what he can, and he nearly won the race. And I've got to say, Kimi is one of the guys who have, he's been on my mind for over this summer break, and we've talked about him so much. Going to be a really strong second place from him. I've got to say, out of all the drivers out of this race, I'm excited to see him. Excited and a half to see what he can do in this race. He's been great all season, but Hungary was honestly, that was like a hit out of the park, Jordan. It was really fantastic from him. It was really strong, and Kimi, obviously, he's going to have a great race, I reckon, this time.
I think he will, to be honest with you, because whenever I think of Belgium and Spa, I always think of Kimi Raikkonen as well. It just seems to fit, and obviously he is in a very competitive car. Obviously he hasn't won any races this season, but he's took pole position before, and he has been in the lead of a few races. So obviously the pace is there, but it's all about focusing on Sebastian Vettel. On Ferrari's priorities, anyways. It's all about focusing on Sebastian Vettel because he's in the lead of the World Championship, and he's like, right, he's a 4-time World Champion. Kimi's only a 1-time World Champion. Kimi's not in the lead of the World Championship. Sebastian Vettel is. So it is going to take quite a lot for Kimi Raikkonen to win the Grand Prix should Sebastian Vettel either have a problem or doesn't have any of the pace, or he crashes out or whatever. And I think Kimi Raikkonen actually stands a really good chance of winning the Grand Prix if he is up against the likes of Lewis Hamilton. However, if it is like what it was in Hungary, and he's up against Sebastian Vettel, and Vettel's in P1 and Raikkonen's in P2, I can see Raikkonen being faster, but I can't see him overtaking Sebastian Vettel. Not because of the pace, because Ferrari won't let him, and that's a really disappointing thing. And obviously now, back then, back in 2007, 2008, when Kimi Raikkonen was top form, top. Even before that, you know, he was a really good driver before then. You know, he didn't have all these team orders and everything, you know, regulating, you know, who does what. Unlike now, where obviously it's just like, right, okay, keep away from your teammate. He's in the lead of the World Championship. You know, don't spoil it, because otherwise, you know, you could be in some really hot water. Despite Kimi Raikkonen being, you know, on the grid for like, you know, the past, you know, 10, 15 years or whatever. So, you know, it is a shame, but honestly, I really do think that Kimi Raikkonen does stand a chance of winning the Grand Prix if it's not Sebastian Vettel he's racing against. So obviously, that's our predictions as well. As ever, leave your predictions in the comment section below. Your top 3, your top 5, your top 10, or if you want to go all out, your top 20. Obviously, predicting your entire drivers, and then obviously, if you get them all right, we'll give you a pat on the back as well, and we'll give you a shout out as well. We'll give you a thumbs up as well from the good old F1 debate show. That's better than a prize, and that's the best you're going to get here.
Much better.
Obviously, now it's time for, you know, as like I said, none of this bloody Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton rubbish. This is Jordan Lyle, you know, getting out of the business with Fry the Grid to kick off the second part of the season. Now, the scores currently are: Lyle's on 35.5 points, and I'm on 28 points. So obviously, who did the last Grand Prix? It was Lyle who did the Hungarian Grand Prix. I forgot.
Me.
Obviously, because I'm hosting it. That's why. Obviously, I forgot for a split second there. Lyle got 8 points, as I remember, for the Hungarian Grand Prix. Very, very good. Very, very impressive. Now I'm coming into Belgium. I'm thinking, yeah, I'm quite confident with this one because I know quite a lot about Belgium. Obviously, not to, you know, blow me on trumpet or anything. I know quite a lot about Belgium. So when we recorded this, I'm thinking, yes, I'm quite confident with it, but. Did I get 10 out of 10? Was I the first person to get 10 out of 10 in this series? Or was I the first person to get 0 out of 10? It could have literally all backfired on us. Anyways, enjoy anyways. Here is Belgium's Fry the Grid. Hello guys, it's Jordan again, and I'm here to do the Belgian Grand Prix Fry the Grid. Just right in front of Deepdale, Preston, North End.
Question 1. Who was on the podium for the 2016 Belgian Grand Prix?
For the 2016 Belgian Grand Prix? I'll say Nico Rosberg, Lewis Hamilton. No. Was it Verstappen? I'll say Verstappen. I'll say them 3.
If you went for the other Red Bull, you'd be correct as Daniel Ricciardo. Unfortunately, yeah. Right, question 2. The most successful constructor has 16 victories at Spa. What is a constructor?
Ferrari.
It is. That was easy. Question 3. In 2012, to avoid the crash at La Source, 2012 Belgian Grand Prix, there was a jump start of almost 1.5 seconds, which is like on the 4th light. Who did that jump start? He did. Obviously, again, that's not hard. Question 4. In 2014, when Lewis Hamilton and Nico Rosberg collided,
Yes.
coming off the Kemmel Straight,
Yep.
who did Toto Wolff blame for the crash?
He blamed Rosberg.
He did. Very easy. Question 5. Just at the top of Eau Rouge, there is a corner that is absolutely jam-packed full of drunk celebrities from a country. What country is that? It's got a very special name for that, and I'll give you a clue, the gas that they use.
What's the name of the corner?
Yes, it's not the name of the corner, but it's like the fans that occupy that corner.
Oh, Petrolheads.
No. It's like, I'll give you... What country is it? That's all I'm asking, what country? What country are the fans from?
Belgium.
No. Holland.
Holland.
It's called
Right.
Dutch Corner. Like it is, like in cycling, yep. Question 6. In 2003, there was no Belgian Grand Prix, and there had been one since the calendar, Formula 1 calendar in 1950. Why wasn't it on the calendar? And
They were changing La Source, weren't they? They were changing the track?
They did renovations, but that wasn't the big reason, so I'll give you another guess.
Was it possibly moving the Belgian Grand Prix?
No, it was actually something very stupid. It was because of the tobacco laws in Belgium, and obviously that's when all the cigarettes, advertising got taken off. Yeah. Question 7. What is the actual capacity of the nearest, round 1,000 of Spa? What's the attendance?
I'll say... Well, it's a big circuit, obviously, but it doesn't have that as much stands as... Because it's more or less, It's like 90% woodland, really.
It's full admission, like Silverstone. We're counting that for the attendance.
I would probably say about 50,000.
Bit more than that, 100,000. There's a lot of...
That is a lot, yes.
Question 8. Who is the main sponsor for the Belgian Grand Prix?
For...
This year.
Not Shell, is it?
No, it's not. It's Pirelli. Question 9. Sebastian Vettel collided with Jenson Button in 2010 to earn himself the nickname, a bit like Daniel Kvyat's Torpedo, that was going around the news when he collided with JB. What was his nickname after that?
The Crash Kid.
It was.
The Crash Kid.
And question 10. What is the forest and or national park that Spa is situated around?
Ardennes Forest.
It is, and it's classed as a rainforest.
Yes.
Which is why they have such bad weather. And the calculations and your score is 5 out of 10, straight down the middle.
Not bad, I must say. You know, a bit like my Chinese Grand Prix Friday the Grid. I knew some about China, but then others I didn't. So, you know, a bit more fortunate, and then I got more results than what I did when I was standing in front of St James's. Less results, shall I say? Obviously, Deep Dale is good luck to me, so I'll leave it at that. And what's that phrase? What is that phrase? Honestly.
Yes, so there is no Seb and Lewis. That really is. It's a boring story that we're really bored of. That. It's all about us. And honestly, so now the scores are. I'm now ahead on. I stay ahead on 35.5, and Jordan he was about to catch us on 33 on Max Verstappen points. It is very close. Honestly, it is incredible because as we now head into the next round, which obviously is Fry the Grid for Italy, really, really tight, but it is a good battle. And obviously, do you like the Fry the Grid? Because obviously we were over halfway as well. We like it. And I've got to say, even just watching that recording as well, we did that when we were at the pre-season game at Preston, our first pre-season, Newcastle's first pre-season, and now we're going into our third game of the PL season. It is crazy how everything works, but
I think that is the last we should mention of the results of the game, because
you mean Fry the Grid? Well, see,
not Fry the Grid, not Fry the Grid, just the football in general. Yes. I think we should just. I think that's where we should just leave it at that. Yes. So obviously now Fry the Grid is out the way with. I'm currently.
But for Fry the Grid is also embarrassing for Jordan as well. What?
Who said that? Who said that? Honestly, what do we do here? Racing or criticising me? It's like,
Fry the Grid. Yeah.
I wouldn't count his chickens just yet because the season isn't over yet. 2.5 points is the gap, you know. But obviously now Lau has the advantage going into Italy. What can he do? Obviously, subscribe as well just to find out. Obviously, if you want to keep in tune with Fry the Grid. So now this is the part of the show where we just basically explain. Give off some key facts and key points of drivers and teams of kind of related to the Belgian Grand Prix or just Formula One in general or for whatever. Now the first person I'm going to kick off with is a driver who obviously is challenging for the World Championship. German driver, 4-time World Champion. You know who it is by now. It's obviously Sebastian Vettel. Now the reason why I'm talking about Sebastian Vettel in this Grand Prix is because this is key. This is now very, very much massive for Sebastian Vettel in the last 9 rounds of the season, because he knows he can win the World Championship easily, without a doubt. Well, I say easily, he's got Lewis Hamilton to contend with. Now, 14 points is the lead currently between Sebastian Vettel and Lewis Hamilton. Now, obviously, you probably think, well, why is it important for Sebastian Vettel? He's won 4 World Championships already, so why does he need a 5th? Well, this is kind of like about Sebastian Vettel, but it's a title with Ferrari. Now that is the the very much important thing here, because Ferrari haven't won a driver's title since Kimi Raikkonen in 2007, and haven't won a constructor's title since Massa was driving for them in 2008. So it has been a very, very long time. And now the last time you had a German Italian driving world champion was obviously when Michael Schumacher was driving for Ferrari. So obviously trying to go back to them days. Obviously, which would be very, very nice. And obviously, for Sebastian Vettel, it would be a dream for him. Growing up seeing back Schumacher like that as well. So it'll be absolutely fantastic as well. Now, the form Sebastian Vettel is in right now is, I would say, it's second to none. It's really, really astonishing. He's currently had P1, P2, P1, P2, P2, P1, P4, P4, P2, P7. Let's not talk about that. And obviously P1 at the last Grand Prix in Hungary. Form formidable. No retirements. A car very, very reliable. Tyres, that's for another story. Let's not go into that, too much. Any Ferrari fans watching, with nothing to do with us. Blame Mercedes. But no, I think Sebastian Vettel is on the form of his life. The best has been since I would probably say 2013. Let's say, because if you remember at this time, 4 years ago, Sebastian Vettel won the last 9 rounds of the season. So can he do it again? Now, read up about Sebastian Vettel currently is that right now he has 4 wins to his name. very, very impressive. Considering the past couple of seasons he's actually had. Now, the lowest Sebastian Vettel the lowest number of race wins that Sebastian Vettel has had in a season, that is win a championship, is 5. Now that were in 2010 and 2012. Now, obviously, they weren't really particularly strong seasons. However, the podiums, were consistent. The car was quite reliable. Dubai, let's not talk about that as well. 2012, shall I say? And obviously, what was I saying? Yeah. Oh yes. And obviously, he didn't really have a very titled rival, because Alonso, the car back in 2010 and 2012, the car wasn't really there, was it? He faded off towards the end, and same in 2012. It wasn't really as competitive. The McLarens were sort of unreliable. Good at the word go, it was like, right, bang, McLaren's here. And by the end of the season, it was just like, where are they at? And now, in 2017, let's not even go down that road. Down that road? I was like, what was that road? Road. I was meant to say...
Very, very bad.
Very rude.
Gosh.
Tell you what happened.
Golly.
Golly, dear. Fiddlestick. Fiddlestick.
Fringling and all that.
Everyone's just like...
High tea.
Everyone's just like, what the hell is going on here?
The F1 high tea debate show.
Ooh, I like that word. Anyways, we're changing that name. But no, Sebastian Vettel, obviously back to the series on that. Sebastian Vettel, very, very important 9 races for him, it is ultimately, and for Ferrari as well. So, what should the tactic be? Should it be all go for broke, just risk everything and put his life on the, well, I say his life, everything on the line to win this world championship, or maybe even play it safe and just maybe try and make the sport more entertaining and have a close battle with Sebastian Vettel, with Lewis Hamilton. He's not going to fight himself, obviously. That'll be weird. But
do you think he'd win if he fought himself?
Probably not.
Probably not.
No, I really don't. I can't see it happening. But no, Sebastian Vettel, very, 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 formidable form coming into the second part of the season. He's going to continue that. It is going to be very, very close, and I think he might just edge Lewis Hamilton. But obviously, as I predicted, him to finish in P3. So obviously, obviously your predictions were different than mine. So obviously, you got a different
prospect
of what Sebastian Vettel is going to do this weekend. So do you think that Vettel should push it all? Should put everything on the line to actually try and win this world championship? Or should he just go all for broke, or should I say, or sit back a bit and just maybe keep up the pace with Lewis Hamilton and just make it more exciting for the fans?
Well, I mean, him not being on the podium for my prediction, I mean, that's not to say that he's not a good driver or anything like that. Obviously, I just think that the 3 drivers obviously that I've put on are better. I love the battling. Obviously, Seb has 14 points to play with. Obviously, just let's say that he has a problem in this race, or obviously in the final, let's say the 5 or 6, because he probably won 1-8 at the end. He has 14 points kind of in the bank saved. So obviously, if Lewis Hamilton does P1, P2 all the time, he can play with that 14 points. But it is great how it's 2 drives, because obviously, as we've said many times, obviously it's not just us, it's other people that have known this. Last year, and obviously since 2014, it was an inter-team battle. Even 2013 at Red Bull, it's been an inter-team battle. It's been obviously the 2 Red Bull drivers in 2013, and obviously since 2014, it's been the 2 Mercedes drivers. This time, it's a Mercedes and a Ferrari, like we've discussed before, and that is really great. And if Seb wins this World Championship, it will show that it'll kind of, I don't know, it'll give Seb just an amazing kind of look on Formula 1. People will it won't just think of him as a Formula 1 driver, as a Formula 1 world champion. They'll think of him as a legend, because he's won 4 with Red Bull in a car when some seasons people were saying that it was just given to him on a silver platter, and obviously that he couldn't race, he could only win or he could only retire. He couldn't get through to the field or whatever because he was in a winning car. Obviously, some years were different. For example, 2012 and 2012 Red Bull was quite a fighting season, and obviously 2010 as well. Obviously, he came through in 2015 to win 3 races with Ferrari as well. So he has fought a good few times, but obviously it will be amazing for Seb, and I can't wait to see what happens in this. Both drivers deserve it. But as I say, I mean, that's the thing. This sport it's amazing. I'm going to say it's more entertaining than last season, because it was almost Mercedes, and also as well, obviously for people who support other teams. Obviously, for example, like my big team is Red Bull. John's big team is McLaren. John's mediocre team is McLaren.
Hey.
My kind of mediocre team is Haas, even though they're not really mediocre. They're just kind of a B list. It makes it more exciting for them, because now we can choose sides. You know what I mean? And obviously, I know John's wearing Mercedes today, but obviously we always just keep choosing sides and things like that, which obviously is absolutely great. Anyway, but the guy I'm going to move on to next is obviously, as John said, we have different predictions in our podium, and this is the guy who I've got in my 3rd place, and that is Max Verstappen. Now, we don't have a Dutch Grand Prix anymore, which obviously is a big shame. It was always a good circuit, but obviously being a Dutch driver, obviously since 2015 when Max was in, big buzz from the Netherlands. Obviously, they get some great fans. Remember some of the race that they went to, obviously Belgium last year and Austria this year. Obviously, sorry about the result, but he gets some big fans, he gets some big support, and obviously, why wouldn't you? He's a great driver. In Belgium, he was born in Belgium, obviously lives in, and obviously kind of calls him, says that his nationality is the Netherlands, obviously from the Netherlands, obviously is Dutch, but being born in Belgium, he is a big, obviously, that track is kind of like his home race, let's say. He was a big buzz around last year. Didn't go to plan, obviously, as I said in the first part. He was caught up in a few crashes, and, Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen, obviously, two Ferrari drivers, kind of pointed in the way of Max, which was quite ironic, because obviously, as you remember, a few races ago, a Red Bull driver and a certain Ferrari driver in the name of Sebastian Vettel had a collision twice, and then obviously Seb cried to Horner, and then train places started. And we don't know whose fault that is, but, it is a bit strange how Seb, cried a few days beforehand. Yeah. But, obviously, they weren't very happy about Max. Max stood his ground, said he's a driver. He's going to go aggressively, obviously, and obviously, he got in a few problems. I remember also there's a problem on the Kemmel straight when he was, cutting up Kimi Raikkonen and things like that, but no real harm. Obviously, finished 11th place. It was a good race from him, but obviously could have been better if he didn't get that penalty for obviously impeding the drivers. Really strong driver, really aggressive driver, and obviously, I remember last year, as I say, great strong drive from him. This year, again, like I said in the first part, it's been up and down. Obviously, the first part is to mention all of his DNFs, which obviously aren't really good. He was on a bit of a bad streak when his teammate was on a good streak, and I mean, it's been okay. It's been progressive for Max Verstappen, but it's just not really where he wants to be. Obviously, getting 5 retirements this year, not where the car wants to be, not where he wants to be, and now we're heading into the second part of the season. He has home support. He also has a bit of a rival, obviously in the words of Stoffel Van Dorn, so that'll make it interesting. I'm not saying that McLaren will be up next to the Red Bull, but obviously that makes it all great as well. And I mean, yeah, there's not really much to say on terms of fact, because obviously Max Verstappen is more of like a boisterous driver. He just, he'll change from one weekend to another. He'll just go and impress one weekend, and then another weekend he might not do so well, obviously. And also we know that the Red Bulls on, for example, like they were in 2012, 2013, when they were stuck to the ground. They'd never break down. There'd be never a problem. They can actually break down, obviously, as we've seen with Daniel Ricciardo and obviously Max Verstappen a good few times. Also, I remember Canada was one of the worst ones, obviously followed by Baku, which was like, oh my god, what's happening to Red Bull now? But yeah, it was bad, and that was bad. But obviously Max couldn't help himself. So at the end of the day, he has done some good results, but obviously I could see a good race from Max, and I'm really excited to see what he does. I'll see a second part of the season, and it's the closest to the home race that he's going to get. So I mean, Jordan, Max impresses us on every single weekend we see him. Red Bull, though, are quite a bit of a worry. They're a bit of a wild card now, because I'm quite worried when I go into a race. I don't think I ever was with Red Bull before, because it was like, oh my god, they're actually going to break down, or they could break down. There were chances of breaking down, like the same chances that McLaren could have broken down in 2016. Not loads, but it could happen. It is a good possibility that it could happen. Do you know what I mean? It's better than 2015 and 2017, but you know what I mean. But Max, I mean, I think he can do well in this race. A third place and good support and good, strong, and hopefully he gets that reliability out of the car. He can have a good race.
Oh, obviously, he definitely wants to put on a good show for his fans, because literally the Belgian Grand Prix in Spa is just going to be like covered in orange. I mean, if that big grassy bank on the Kemmel Straight will just be like a sea of orange. It is really, really good to see, and obviously it was spectacular to see when obviously he was racing there last season. It was just loads and loads of orange everywhere. The support was brilliant. Obviously, Verstappen likes to put on a show, like we've seen in 2015. Obviously, when he did the overtake on, I think it was Felipe Nasr Blanchimont. I think it was a Sauber. I know that, but I don't know if it was Nasr or Ericsson. But either way, it was still a brilliant overtake. And obviously, every single time he comes to that corner, he's going to go, yeah, I overtook in this place, and he might do it again, or he could do the infamous Mark Webber on Alonso or over or Rouge. So So that will be quite interesting to see. Obviously, the crowd will go absolutely immense, but Max Verstappen will definitely want to put on the show, and he will want a good result. And obviously, the chance of a podium are possible, but obviously, in my predictions, I put Daniel Ricciardo in P2, so obviously, I'm relying more on Daniel Ricciardo to do well. However, if Verstappen had more finishes than Ricciardo, if their form is switched around this season, I would be putting for Max Verstappen, very good chance of challenging for even the race win. This time around, because he's a very strong driver, a lot of potential in this guy. We rate him highly here at the F1 Debate Show, so the potential is there, and I think if he comes here with a very strong car, he could literally win 6-7 Grand Prix here in Belgium. He could become the king of Belgium, overtaking Kimi Raikkonen. But obviously there might be a Dutch Grand Prix in the future. There has been talks about having a Dutch Grand Prix again, so that will be helped by the fact that Max Verstappen is Dutch, and obviously you've got a couple of Dutch drivers in the ranks as well. So again, that'll be quite, that will be interesting to see if one does come about. Maybe in Zandvoort or Zandvoort, I don't know. Zandvoort, that's a corner in British Monaco. I keep getting them mixed up. Zandvoort. Come on, think about it.
Well, honestly, what are we doing here? Racing or talking about Monaco?
talking about naming corners and tracks, but no, Max Verstappen, highly rated driver, very, very much appreciated. I don't think he'll be on the podium, as I said in my predictions, but I think he will put on a good show. He's a very good driver. Obviously, a couple of brilliant overtakes, like we've seen in Britain, like we've seen in Hungary as well. So, well, let's say it, well, we say Hungary, but any Red Bull fans watching, including one down there, I shall say, I'm not going to say anything else. But from one good team, on one with really, really good form, to one who isn't really. Well, do you know what? I say bad form. The last Grand Prix, we scored double points as well.
It was very strong.
And we beat Sauber as well. Well, we overtook Sauber in the constructors, so we're currently 9th. So, progress has been made, guys. Yes, but I did kind of know that we were going to do well at Hungary because it's a track that doesn't require much power. Now, for these next 2 races, the last 2 rounds of Europe in Belgium and Italy, I'm panicking like mad because these types of tracks require speed. McLaren have none of that. The Kemmel straight, the back straight, Blanchimont, the start finish straight. I don't want to think about it. And Monza, don't even get me started on Monza. The amount of straights in Monza, it's going to be a nightmare for races for McLaren. Now, the reason why I'm talking about these is because, a bit like what I've said with Sebastian Vettel, the next 9 rounds, or the last 9 rounds rather, are cake for them because they still don't have an engine deal for next season. They're still like, Honda, Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, Renault. What's going on? Where are we going with this? Because McLaren's in a huge mess right now. We thought the problems were solved back in 2016. It was like, okay, 2017, it's going to be quite a good season. It's even worse than 2015. I'd rather have 20. No, I'm not going to go that far actually. Well, actually, do you know what? They're actually on par. So, in terms of how bad these seasons have been, and for a fan like myself, supporting McLaren, it's horrible to see. I'm sure if any retro F1 fan who've seen McLaren at the top falls so far. We just entered F1 when McLaren were at the top, and then now the right rock bottom. So we've seen the fall pretty much. Any new F1 fans coming in are like, oh, McLaren, bottom. What? They've won how many constructors titles and how many drivers titles? Lewis Hamilton drove it. Like, seriously, yes. That's the actual reaction. Now they need a very strong result. Constantly. But it's like I said, the thing about Belgium and Italy is just no. All right, I'm not. I'm none of it. But they're saying that they're going to try and sort of an engine deal by September, by Malaysia time, by Japan time. Is that really possible? Then obviously then you've got to think about the progress for next season. McLaren, obviously the heads will be on next season as well, trying to design the chassis and everything else. The McLaren is good. The engine is just terrible. So what do they do? Because they need to decide fast, because obviously you've got to decide of whether build the engine, building the car around the engine, trying put the engine and car, engine and machine together to make it work. There's all that to think about, and obviously it does go very fast. You might be thinking, we're in August now, we've got 9 races left, but no, seriously, we've got 4 in October, so there's so then we've got 5 there, so it goes really, really fast the season. Trust me on that one. So it won't take very long, and obviously, and if we were to find a brand new engine partner for next season, whether that's Peugeot, whether that's Jaguar, or whether that's Alfa Romeo, or whether that's Ferrari or whoever, you might go, okay, we're out of Honda, but okay, we were too late in signing the deal to then design next season's car, because literally all the teams are pretty much in the process of making next year's cars. So, and if McLaren aren't still 5 steps behind everyone else, they're still going to be 5 steps or 4 steps behind everyone else by next season, even with a brand new engine. So we've got to think fast here. So these next 9 rounds are very, very crucial for McLaren. I mean, would you agree on that one with us, Lyle, that the next rounds are vital for McLaren for the next deal for the engine as well, because obviously they need to attract the right engine deal, because obviously the right engine supply, because everyone's looking at them going, they're not going to bring many much sponsorship in it, because they're always at the back. But if they can prove to people, yes, we are a good team, we can do well, then someone might, Jaguar or someone like that might go, all right, we'll have a go. So what do you think about that?
In terms of engines for next year, like Jaguar and that, I maybe think it's a little bit too late, to get on board for 2018. Yeah. But I think the big thing that you didn't mention in that way, which I think for the next few races will be vital to attract this one guy, it's Fernando Alonso, because obviously hopefully you checked out obviously the the driver predictions. If you didn't, obviously, well, I don't know why you're not. Go
why not?
watch
It was a good video. I spent ages editing that, man. Go watch it.
And I said, obviously, that Fernando Alonso would go to Williams, but if he doesn't go to Williams, because he does want to stay in Formula 1 next season, he has said that.
Yeah,
but if you guys, as McLaren fans, don't want Fernando Alonso to go to Williams, even though I do think it would be a great venture, and obviously I mean, they're both British teams, obviously, but, you know, I don't know, it would be nice to see both. But if you don't want Fernando Alonso to go to Williams, then McLaren need to pick up their game just to, one, attract Fernando Alonso, keep him in the team, two, keep Stoffel van Dam from not going away, because I mean, he can do all that he wants as well. He's not tied down. And also, if they're going to bring in anyone else, I mean, it could be engines. I think maybe for 2018 is a little bit too late, as Jordan said. But for anything else, I think McLaren need to pick up their game, just put a better show on, and also, especially as you said, going to Japan, the home of Honda, just need to really pick up their game in general. Really, I don't think they're at any big disadvantage coming into Belgium. You know, like the straight situation, but like going fast in the straights, but. I don't know, every single race is a new challenge for Honda. So the last thing that I'm going to quickly mention, and it's not really a driver, it's like two drivers in the nationality, really. It's the finish. So Kimi Raikkonen and Valtteri Bottas, really strong from now. They've had 12 appearances on the podium. I know you might be thinking to me, well, hang on a minute. There's only been 11 rounds. This is round 12 and it hasn't even happened yet. How can you have 12 appearances? Well, I mean 12 appearances by both drivers. Kimi Raikkonen has retired in 2 rounds and Valtteri Bottas has finished in 1 round. They have both finished in the points in every single round that they have actually finished. The car has absolutely finished, and Kimi Raikkonen has 4 of those podiums and Valtteri Bottas has the rest, so that will be 8 podiums by him. He is in his first season he's in his first season with Mercedes. I was going to say his first season in Formula 1, which would obviously be very impressive, but he's in his first season with Mercedes, which obviously is absolutely incredible to do that feat. Kimi Raikkonen, an old soul, and remember, it's before Monza, so it's next week that they are going to be announcing their Ferrari lineup. So if Kimi Raikkonen wants to stay at Ferrari, I mean, he's doing a very good job, compared to the race that he's had so far. And as I say, I mean, he's retired in 2 races, which that was car reliability. Every single round he has finished. He's also doing Finland a really good service as well. He is doing really class, and Ferrari will be absolutely loving the points that they'll be swimming in. Finland are doing really great. They are the best nationality we have seen in Formula 1, and I've got to say that is it's been a long time since we've had that. Even when, like 2007, when Kimi Raikkonen won his World Championship, you're probably going back there, for example, like 1998, even when Mika was here, but it has been fantastic for them. I've loved seeing that, the double finish flags that are both on the podium. Valtteri's doing great, Kimi's doing great. I don't know where Valtteri will end up in this race, but as I say, Kimi, I've got him in second place, so I'm really loving their performance. That was almost a bit of like an appraisal, Jordan, to say that they've both been doing absolutely amazing jobs, really fantastic, and this, at the end of the season, is going to be amazing for them, and they're going to look back and go, if we're ever going to have an advertisement like welcome to Finland, we'll just show the video we'll just buy the 2017 Formula 1 season review and just keep showing it on a loop in the Finnish embassy, because it's like a big, coming to our country. It's amazing from those two drivers. And as I say, I'm kind of blown away from their performances, really, Valtteri and Kimi.
I think we all should be as well, because obviously whenever you hear a Finnish driver coming in F1, you know he's going to be good, you know he's going to be reliable, and you know that he's not going to give a damn what anybody else thinks, because obviously with the likes of Kimi Raikkonen and Kimi Raikkonen mostly about doing that as well, because the Finnish drivers just kind of just come into F1, do the job, and then leave without a trace. Just like, sorry, what? Mika Hakkinen won how many world championships? It's like, what? He drove with who? Sorry? He was the flying what? And it's literally like that, because that's a good thing as well, because they don't like any force. As I said, they're very, very quick. Rallying as well, obviously whatever rallying is, but word on the street is that they are quite good at rallying as well. So, they're very, very good drivers. They're very, very, very good drivers. Obviously, driving in the snow is very, very snowy in Finland as well. And obviously, they are going to be looking back more Valtteri Bottas, because Raikkonen has been there and done that and got the T-shirt 10,000 times. He's got a wardrobe full of them. So he's been there already. Valtteri Bottas hasn't. This is his first season in a car where he can possibly win the World Championship, and I think he will be here for a bit longer, and he will be up there with the likes of obviously Raikkonen and Hakkinen and Keke Rosberg and other Finnish drivers like that. But in fact about that, Finnish drivers aren't, despite how good they are, there has never really been that many in Formula One. So maybe some of came and gone without leaving a trace that we don't know about. But as I'm aware, there hasn't really been that many.
Yeah, but as you can say though, you can kind of say though that the ones that they have had, the Hitiko, Verlainen, as I say, Ketty, Rosberg, Mick Hackney, Kimi Raikkonen, Valtteri Bottas, the ones that they have had, there might not have been as many, but they don't need as many. All of those people have been winning finished drivers. The finished drivers have finished a race and won a race multiple times sometimes, and championships also. So it's almost like saying that, for example, like British drivers has been about 40 odd. You don't need all of those to say that Finland they are really great sport and pedigree, motorsport pedigree, but they don't need that many drives, because every drive that they've had has almost walked away with at least a race win and at least a podium, at least kind of a buzz of Formula One victories, greatness. It really is amazing that they don't have to have all these drives, but the drives that they have had have been, honestly, some of them have knocked it out of the park, really.
They've been fantastic. Exactly. Long live the Finnish drivers. But anyways, guys, this is where we're going to wrap up this episode. Thank you very much for watching as well. Lovely company as well. Please like the video as well if you have enjoyed it. If you want to dislike this video, please tell us why in the comment section below. Don't be too cruel. Just tell us why you dislike this video. Subscribe if you're new around here. We have a lot coming in the next couple of weeks. I must admit that. So obviously, subscribe if you want to find out what the hell is going on for that. Because trust me, guys, it is very, very exciting. I must admit. Obviously, leave all your predictions in the comment section below. Anything that we've mentioned on Sebastian Vettel, Max Verstappen, the Finnish drivers, McLaren. Obviously, let us know about your opinions of the Belgian Grand Prix and who won the World Championship: Sebastian Vettel, Lewis Hamilton, or someone else. Who knows, guys? Anyway, guys, we've been there for the bit show. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Later, guys.